Good morning, students. Today we will see the first topic from the fourth unit, that is an plant anatomy unit. So, the unit from the semester third, unit number is 4. The first topic from the unit is plant tissue. So, you students, you know all the plant body is made up of the organs, that is the vegetative organs, roots, stem and leaves. All the plants, they are composed of the characteristic type of structural units called the cells. Now when one organ is considered, each organ is made up of the different types of tissues, and tissues, they are made up of the cells. Plant consists of the group of associated cells which performs the related functions and similar in structure. They are called as the tissues. All these tissues, they are uniform in their growth. They have their own features, own functions, but all of them, they are uniform in their growth. Tissue is also a group of cells which are all similar in their form and their function, and their origin is same. They are originated from the same cell. Now, regarding the organization of plant tissue, the tissues, they are organized into the three different layers, that is the epidermal layer, or it is also called as the dermal tissue. The second one is the ground tissue, and third one is the vascular tissues. Now you all know the dermal tissues consist of mainly the epidermal region in case of the stem, while the epiblema in case of the root. In this figure you can see the dermal tissue consists of epidermis, while the ground tissue is shown here. That tissue is the cortical tissue, and the last one is the vascular tissue, which consists of the vascular tissues xylem and phloem. The tissues, they are of two different types, that is meristematic tissue, which are dividing tissue, and second one are the permanent tissues, which are non-dividing cells. Now, what is the plant tissue? In the figure, we will see the first of all the meristematic tissues. In the figure, we have seen the different types of meristems. The meristematic tissues are generally the tissue which are dividing, that we have discussed earlier, which is originated from meristos word. Meristos means to grow. So the function, the basic function of the meristem is it's in the growth. So they are responsible for the process of growth in case of the plant body. Now these meristematic cells, they are having the capacity to divide and redivide again and again to certain parts of the plant body. These are the dividing cells because they are having the rich protoplasm and very prominent nucleus in it. Their cell walls, they are very thin, but they are localized in a specific regions. These dividing cells or the meristematic cells, they are restricted or present in a specific regions of the plant body. The growth of the plant occurs in these certain regions are totally due to the presence of these meristematic cells. Now, on the basis of the location or the position of these meristematic tissues or the meristems, they are divided into three major types. That is the apical meristem, I have shown in the figure. That is the apical meristem. Second one is the lateral meristem, and third one is the intercalary meristem. Now we will discuss about the apical meristem. It is also called as the terminal meristem, which helps in the vertical growth. When we say the particular plant is grown in its size, means we say that its growth is carried out when the height of that particular plant is increased. So height of that particular plant is totally increased only due to the activity of apical meristem. So for the vertical growth of the plant body, the apical meristem is responsible. Where it lies, it is present at the apex of stem and root, and that is called as the stem apical meristem or the shoot apical meristem uh, and root apical meristem respectively. The shoot apical meristem found in a tip of the plants. The apical meristem is responsible for the growth to drive the plant into the air and light, towards the air and light, and the root apical meristem is found at the tip of the roots, and it is responsible to grow the root inside the soil. Now, regarding the lateral meristem, it is also called as the cambium. You all know, you have gone through this word cambium. You have studied the cambium in the last year. So, cambium is totally responsible for the lateral growth or the horizontal growth of the plant body. So, that is nothing but to increase in the girth of the plant body, that is totally carried out by the lateral meristem or the cambium. Now, these meristems, they are responsible to increase the diameter or girth of that particular stem or the root of plant body. According to their functions and which tissues they are going to form, these meristems, they are further divided into two types. Lateral meristems, they are divided into two types. I have shown in the diagram. There are two meristems, that is vascular meristem or the vascular cambium, and second one is the cork meristem or cork cambium. Now, vascular meristem is present where? It is present in the vascular tissues, in between the two vascular bundles and in the vascular bundle. And as its name indicates, the vascular tissue is responsible for the formation of vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem. We call that xylem and phloem as a secondary xylem and secondary phloem. The second tissue, lateral meristem tissue, is the cork meristem. This cork meristem is present in the peripheral region, that is the outermost cortical region of the stem. It is present, and it is responsible to produce cork and secondary parenchyma towards lower side and cork towards outer side. So in this way, these two lateral meristems works. The basic function of the lateral meristem is, I again repeat here, is to increase in the girth of the plant body. Now this is the third type of meristem, which is the most important meristems are the apical meristem, which is responsible for the vertical growth of the plant body. Second important meristem is the lateral meristem or the cambium, which is responsible for the lateral growth of the plant body. And the third one is, which is not so important, but it is present generally in case of the monocotyledons. I have shown you the small, that is bamboo plant, where in the nodal region these meristematic tissues, they are present in, it is called as the intercalary meristems. These types of meristems, intercalary meristems, which are present at the nodal region, are generally present only in case of the monocotyledons. In case of the monocotyledons, lateral meristems, they are not seen because in monocots, secondary growth is generally absent. There is a very less increase in the girth of the stem. You have seen the bamboo plant. the girth of the bamboo is very less as compared to its length. So at the nodal region, the intercalary meristem which is present is responsible for the addition of the cells in the internodal region, so that the internode region, you can see in the figure, the region which is present in between the two nodal region is the internodal region, and these intercalary meristem tissues, they are having the function to increase the length of these internodes. Generally, these intercalary meristems, they are short-lived. They soon disappears and get transformed into the permanent tissues. Now, the epidermal region. Epidermal region, we have seen that the epidermis is the outermost region, and the plant tissues, they are organized into the three layers, that is the epidermal region, ground tissue, and vascular tissues. So epidermal region, which is developed generally from the apical meristem, and it is single layered. In case of the stem, we call the outermost layer as a epidermis, while in case of the root, we call the outermost layer as a um, epiblema. It comprises of the cells which are very simple in structure. They are parenchymatous, they are rectangular, elongated, compactly arranged cells. The cells, they are parenchymatous in nature. The leaves and the shoots, young shoots, possesses a very thick covering over this epidermal region, which is called as a cuticle. These thick cuticles, they might be present on these surfaces to restrict the rate of transpirations. In addition to this, there are some other epidermal features they are present. Those are the presence of the stomata, that are the small openings which are present on the surface of the leaf surfaces, as well as the young stems, and their function is to have the exchange of gases through it. Then next epidermal features consist of the trichomes, hairs, which are nothing but the epidermal outgrowths, which may be the unicellular or may be the multicellular. They may have the glandular hairs present, the glands may be present, stinging hairs may be present. So these are all the epidermal features, the additional features which are present on the epidermis. And the last one is the root hairs. These are the small, tiny hair-like outgrowths which are coming out from the epidermal region or the outermost region of the roots. That is nothing but the extension of that epidermal cells. So these are the root hairs. Now we will move on to the simple tissues. Where we know the tissues, they are of two different types, that is simple tissue and complex tissue. The simple tissues are the tissues which are made up of only one type of the cell, and all these cells, they are similar in size, shape, and their structure. They are the permanent tissues, and they are again further classified into three main types, that is parenchyma, cholinechyma, and sclerenchyma. You can see in the figure the parenchyma cells, which are the thin walled and living cells, while the cholinechyma, they are thick walled cells and the living cells, while the sclerenchyma tissues, they are thick walled and dead cells. We will see now the parenchyma in detail. The parenchyma, you can see from these figures, the parenchyma, they are the thin walled cells, and as we have discussed, they are the living in nature. They are having the thin wall with slight intercellular spaces in them, and where these parenchymatous cells are present, they are generally present in the soft parts of the plant body. And when you cut the transverse section of the various plant parts, you will see generally the parenchymatous cells, they are present in the ground tissue, that is in the cortical region, in the pith region. These parenchymatous cells, they are present. Their size and shape, regarding their size and shape, they are oval, spherical, or polygonal in shape. Walls are thin, made up of cellulose, and their function is to store the food material which is produced in the photosynthesis process. According to their different functions, they get modified into the Chlorenchyma and Erenchyma type of cells. When these parenchymatous cells contains the large number of chloroplasts, produces the and helps to produce the food material with the help of photosynthesis, these parenchymatous cells are known as the Chlorenchyma. These types of cells generally they are present in the leaves. Erenchyma is the type of cells which is modified from the parenchyma only. In these types of cells, the air cavities or air spaces they are present, and these types of cells are generally present in the leaves, stems of the aquatic plants, and their function is to make that particular part buoyant, or its weight should be lighter so that they can float on the water body. Next is the cholenchyma, which is also the simple type of tissues. With all the cells they are similar, you can see in the figure they are the living tissues. Sometimes consist the chloroplast in it, as it is present generally in the hypodermal region just below the endodermal region. The cholenchyma is present. These cells, cholenchymatous cells, these are the elongated cells. They are having the thick corners due to deposition of the cellulose and pectin. They are seen circular or oval in shape when they cut in the transverse plane. The walls are provided with the small pits. These are generally absent from the uh, organs like roots, and they are also absent in the monocots. Why? Because you see the function of the cholenchyma. The function of the cholenchyma is to provide the mechanical support. As the walls of this cholenchyma, they are having the thickening, they are thickened due to deposition of the cellulose. They can help in providing the mechanical support to the plant body. They may be present in the herbal stem, or they may be present in some leaves with the chloroplast in it, and can perform the function of food production with the help of photosynthesis. It also gives the strength, likewise, as it is having the thick walls, then it also helps in the process of photosynthesis. Sclerenchyma is again the third type of simple tissue, but here the tissues, these cells which are present in this tissue, they are dead cells. They are abundantly present in the form of patches. Their walls, they are double walled. They are, when you see it in a longitudinal section, you will see they are long, they are narrow with the thick walled. Their walls, they are lignified due to deposition of lignin material. They are both the ends of this sclerenchyma cells, they are pointed, looks like the fibers, and their walls, they are having the oblique pits on their walls. Regarding the function, it functions to provide the mechanical support. It gives the strength and rigidity to the plant organs. It looks like the fibers, so it is having the important role in the fiber yielding. Next type, that is second type, is the complex tissue. Complex tissue mainly consists of the different types of cells in the group. So it is not a homogeneous tissue, it is heterogeneous in nature and composed of different types of cell elements in the same tissue. The best example of the complex tissues, which tissues comes under the complex tissues, those are the xylem and phloem, that is the vascular tissues. Xylem is the water conducting tissue, you all know. It consists of the various elements like the xylem elements, xylem tracheids, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, and medullary rays in case of the gymnosperm plants. While the phloem consists of the sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers, and ray cells. These all these cells in combination perform the function of food conduction. In flowering plants, sieve tube members and companion cells arises from the same mother cell. You can see all these details in the diagram. It is given with the labelings. This is the outermost periderm, then secretory tissues and hydatodes which are present in the form of the tissues which are present in the plant body. Secretory tissues consist of the latissiferous tissues, glandular tissues which are having the function to secrete the various secondary metabolites like the tannins, gums, resins, nectars, enzymes, etc. So these tissues are also important as a accessory tissues with the simple and complex tissues. Next one is the xylem tissue, which is the complex tissue. We will see it in now detail. These are the dead cells having the thick and lignified walls. The function of the xylem you all know. It has the function to conduct the water and minerals from root to the various parts of the plant body, and it also provides some mechanical strength to the plant body. The first structure which element which comes under the xylem is the tracheids. These tracheids, they are elongated tube-like dead cells with hard and lignified walls having the cavities in it. Both the ends in longitudinal section will show you the both the ends of this tracheids, they are tapering. The walls of this, they are having the various pits, that is the small pores, they are present on the walls of the tracheids. In transverse sections or in transverse plane, they will seen as a polygonal or rectangular in shape. It provides strength to the plant body. Now, the second important part, that is the vessels. Vessels, generally, these are the main element of the xylem in case of the angiospermic plant, but these are totally absent from the gymnospermic plant. These are nothing but a tube-like structures which are dead and placed end to end. They forms a series of water pipes. The walls of these are also thickened in various patterns, having the small pits on their lateral walls. Their walls are thickened and lignified. Wood fibers are the sclerenchymatous cells which are associated with the xylem tissue. They are occur abundantly in the xylem of dicotyledons. While the next important cells which elements which comes under the xylem are the xylem parenchyma. These are the living cells which are present in the xylem. They are thin walled and they always assist and help the xylem tissue to conduct water and minerals. Next tissue is the phloem, which is also called as the bast. You can see in the figure the phloem tissue consists of the sieve tubes, companion cells, then phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Sieve tubes are nothing but the tube-like structures which are composed of the elongated cells which are also placed end to end. The walls of these are thin, made up of cellulose. The transverse walls are perforated by the pores which are called as the sieve plates, and the pores, they are called as the sieve pores. So this is about the element sieve tubes. Now the next element of the phloem is the companion cell. This companion cells, they are associated with the sieve tubes and connected with the sieve tubes by presence of pores. These companion cells, they are thick walled and elongated. These are living and consist of protoplasm with the elongated nucleus. These companion cells generally present in case of the angiosperms. These cells, they help in the conduction of the food material in case of the plants. Phloem parenchyma are nothing but the parenchymatous cells, forms a part of phloem. These are the living and cylindrical in shape, store the food material and help in the conduction of the food material, but it is totally absent in the monocotyledonous plants. Phloem fibers, that is the next element of the phloem. These are the sclerenchymatous cells present in the phloem tissue, which is totally absent in the primary phloem but present in the secondary phloem, which is developed after the secondary growth. Thank you.